Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Orlagh, and today I thought I'd show you 3 no-bake vegan sweet recipes. So these are ideal for if you're having like little Christmas parties at home, or if you just want to bake a load of stuff or not bake it and treat yourself. So I hope you enjoy these. Let me know which one looks the best to you down below, and as usual make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy these recipes. So a festive apron is optional but encouraged, wooden spoon is essential, and mulled wine, also optional. Candy cane nails, also encouraged. So the first recipe we're going to begin with is this Rocky Road Christmas pudding. So it's the Christmas pudding that people are actually going to like, because I'm not a fan of Christmas pudding, don't at me. So these are the ingredients. I'm going to list all of the recipes down below in the down box, but we've got a selection of biscuits, chocolate, butter, dried fruit, cacao nibs and a pinch of salt. So we're going to start by melting the chocolate over a bain-marie or a double boiler. This is just a bowl that is just a little bit above some boiling water so we can melt the chocolate correctly. And then I'm going to just break up the biscuits with my hands. This needs to just be quite rough. We're going to bash and beat up the biscuits a bit better in a second. So I'm using a mixture of wholemeal digestive biscuits and gingerbread, and I love this mixed together. Going to use the trusty bottle of wine as a mallet of sorts until you get this texture more or less. You don't want it to be too fine, you do want some texture. And then I'm adding a couple of handfuls of cacao nibs. I had these instead of chocolate chips. I mean, technically these are quite healthy, but put in here what you like. A couple of handfuls of raisins, or you could do dried cranberries, or leave them out if you're not a fan. This recipe is super flexible really. And then some mini marshmallows. Just going to give that a stir through just to combine it a little bit before we add the nuts. So I love pecans, but you can use any nuts here. If you're allergic, you can just omit this. Really the basic Rocky Road recipe is biscuits, chocolate and marshmallow. Anything else is kind of optional. So I'm going to stir those through, and also with my fingers peel apart these dates into chunks. I soaked these in water overnight just so they were a bit squidgier, great word. And then when they are all in there, just going to mix that through again. This is such an easy recipe. It's great for kids or for people who aren't a fan of baking in general. And once the chocolate is melted, we're going to put in a pinch of salt. This helps to bring out the flavour of the chocolate. And then a big tablespoon of butter, and a little bit more there. And when that is nice and silky smooth, you want to take a bowl that is not too large. This was like a standard cereal bowl. And then I'm just scrunching up some greaseproof paper to line the bowl like this. And this will give us that Christmas pudding-esque mould. And then I'm going to add the biscuity, crunchy, all sorts Bob's Your Uncle mixture into the melted chocolate. It's a lot easier to add the dry into the chocolate rather than the other way round. So you just want to mix this through. Again, this isn't rocket science, there's no real rhyme or reason, it's just loads of delicious stuff in melted chocolate, which is what we like to see. So I'm going to bring across that bowl now, and then just plonk all of this mixture into the bowl. And you do want to get it quite compact, just so when it hardens in the fridge it sticks together. You want it to keep its form. And you can use a glass to help you out with this. Just bash it down. You could bring out the wine bottle again at this stage, but I think by this point I'd opened it up, so that was busy mulling on another hob. And when that is all done, you can fold in the sides, and then you want to give it a good old press and leave it in the fridge with something weighted on top. I put a can of tomatoes on top of that. And while that's in the fridge, you can prepare some toppings. So I used marzipan and food colouring, and the battery cut out some point along here, so I actually did this off camera. And this is the next day, so this has had a good overnight in the fridge, but a couple of hours should be fine. And you just want to peel it out and put it on your serving plate of choice. And then we're going to top it with the marzipan. And you could use white chocolate to top this, you could just leave it plain, but obviously you want to give it the effect of a Christmas pudding. And this is delicious. It's really sweet, as you can imagine, and it's rich because the chocolate we used was dark, and it's so good. Have a big slice of it with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, really good. And yeah, I think it's a really simple, easy, no-bake recipe that most people are going to enjoy. And if they don't enjoy it, well, get out on your ear. So moving on to recipe 2, these are Peppermint Oreo truffles, aka crack, and if you eat more than 2, you're probably not going to sleep. So gonna give you some fair warning there. So you want to take first the candy canes, and I'm gonna bash these up in a food processor. You could do this by hand, and I have done it by hand before, but it does take a bit more time. So you want to use about 6 to 8 candy canes here. Give it a good old blitzing in your food processor or by hand until you get like a fine crumb. You want it to be quite fine just so you are able to roll the truffles in it later, and plop that all on a plate and set it to one side. This will be the final step, so you can forget about it for now. And then we're going to move on to blitzing up the Oreos. So I can't remember how many in total, I will put the quantities down below, and I blitz this all up. Don't worry about washing it in between, it's all going in the same recipe. So you want to crumble these up until you get a fine soil-like texture, and then plop them into a bowl as well and leave that to one side. I'm loving the word plop today, not quite sure why. And then while that is all going on, you can be melting your chocolate. I used mint chocolate, but feel free to use any other chocolate you like. You could use milk chocolate and then add some mint extract, or you could just keep it straight up chocolate. And then you're going to take a couple of tablespoons and set it to one side for later. We're going to use this to coat the truffles in because, you know, we needed more sugar on there. And then I'm adding the coconut cream and then some butter. Again, this is vegan margarine actually. And then I'm going to put that all in the bowl and allow that to melt into a nice runny texture. And when that's done and it's looking all silky and smooth, you want to add all of your Oreo soily crumbs into the chocolate mixture and then fold that through, and it comes together really nicely. You end up almost with like a biscuit dough, and then when that is ready you can put it in the fridge. I put mine in the fridge for only about 20 minutes. Really it could have done with more like 45 minutes just so it would be a lot easier to roll out. And when you're done with that, you can take about a teaspoon, depending on how big you want your truffles to be, and then roll it in your hands like so. It doesn't need to be perfect, just some kind of spherical shape will do the job. And then dip that into your melted chocolate and then roll it into your candy cane. Or you could do what I'm about to do in a second and not realise the candy canes have rehardened, try and break it and make a mess. You know, I like to keep these bits in because we are all human. And once you've done that, I said that really like a robot, really if that's something that a non-human would say, but let's roll with it. And then when you've finished rolling your truffles, you can put them to one side on a plate and just keep on going. And then just keep on going until you've used up all the mixture. Again, this is really simple. This is a great one to do with kids as well because, you know, they can get involved, get their hands a bit dirty. And you can also choose to just dip a bit in the chocolate and the candy cane. To be honest, I actually prefer the ones that aren't coated as much. So it's up to you. Just see what you feel like doing. Really, the chocolate step is optional. You could just leave them as they are and sprinkle some on top. And then when they're finished, this is how they look. Like I said before, these are super sweet, but they are delicious, a really nice snack to have around the holiday times. And I just love the combination of dark chocolate and peppermint together. I think they're so good. And these are kind of hard on the outside with the candy cane and then the chocolate. And inside they're really, really fudgy, almost like a brownie. So definitely recommend. 10 out of 10, would make again. Now our final one are these green marshmallow crispy trees. So you're going to take any kind of puffed cereal, some marshmallows, butter and green food colouring. This is the easiest of all of the recipes, although not so easy if, like me in Madrid, it's impossible to find Rice Krispies. So I had to use these weird wholemeal ones, which didn't turn out as well as normal, I'm going to be honest, but they were still nice. And the bain-marie method here didn't quite work, so I decided to heat it on a direct heat in the saucepan, which ended up working really well. So I'm just going to add my green food colouring, give it all a hyper quick, fast forward whiz until you get this delicious slime-like gunky consistency. Delicious. You then want to spoon this on top of your rice puffed cereal alternative, and you do have to work quite quickly. I find that vegan marshmallows don't melt in exactly the same way as regular ones, and you do need to kind of take that into account, but you want to stir it through until everything is thoroughly combined, and then take mounds of it, handfuls of it, and make it into trees as best as you can. And then I'm going to sprinkle some icing sugar on top to make it look like we're in a snowy wonderland. Not that these need more sugar on top of them, but yeah, these are light, crispy, and they just look really cute, I think. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what was your favourite in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, stay tuned for part 2 because I'm going to do a savoury recipe. And I hope you're enjoying the festive season. So thanks for watching and I hope to see you again around these parts soon. Bye!